The Australia Wildlife Park is home to a wide variety of animals from all over the world, including the little koala Lapusic, who was just sleeping. Jackie the crocodile scared the child while the scorpion, lizard and spider in the terrarium talked about the performance. Zoo workers came and took them away for this purpose, including their snake Copper, which was an incredibly beautiful blue color and attracted everyone, but one bite could kill many people. All these animals were caught by Jess Gant, a famous hunter about whom legends were made about his exploits. He began to say that they were deadly. Jess released Jackie the crocodile and quickly caught him. He showed a scorpion, a lizard and a spider, and then that viper, who really wanted to please everyone because he considered himself gentle and sweet. But Gant said she was a cold-blooded killer. The children burst into tears, and others shouted that she was a monster, even though she was not one. But everyone loved Lapusic because he was small and fluffy. His fur was incredibly soft. He even got manicures and pedicures and had his own therapist. He had a video surveillance camera in his cage, and anyone from every point on Earth could connect to this camera and watch him. The animals began to talk and tried to somehow support Medi. The spider's name was Frank, the scorpion's name was Nijo, and the lizard's name was Zoe. Each of them had their own passion and they wanted to convey that Medi is unique and she should be herself, but the snake only refused, saying that they only love Lapusica the koala. The animals were still cubs here, so no one remembered anything about the thickets. Jackie talked about her favorite place in the mountains, where she grew up, and Maddie sang a lullaby that her mother had once sung to her. Jesse Gunn's son was evil. He knocked on the terrariums to make the animals wake up. Every day passed the same. Koala was loved, but Jackie, Frank, Nijo, Zoe and Medi were hated. The son fell to the crocodile and Jackie tried to save him, but people decided that she wanted to attack him, but this is not true. The crocodile was grabbed, Zoe got out of her terrarium and went to see how Jackie was grabbed into a cage and taken away somewhere. Medi was confused, but suggested escaping from the zoo, and today they decided to return to the thicket. With Zoya's help, they got out of the terrariums. Lapusic knocked with a stick, and then Nijo bit him with his tail so that he would shut up and lose consciousness. The animals got out of the fence and took Lapusic with them. They found a raft and swam through the bay, and then they met Jacinta the shark, who said that she belonged to US, a super sensitive association of scary creatures, and if they were in danger or needed help, all they had to do was say the password "I'm scary, you're scary. We are scary, everyone should be like this, ugliness is the new beauty." The shark agreed to transport them to the shore before dawn, because people come out in the morning. Jess Gant noticed the animals fleeing and was about to call veterinary control, but agreed to shoot them on his own. Lapusic abandoned them, being smug, but then he saw that they were wanted, and he himself was considered mad. Lapusic was running away from people, and then she was surrounded. Suddenly they told us the password and they were hidden in the sewer. There were spiders there, who were also agents of us. Using a sewer flush, they reached the streets, where Jess Gant and their son spotted them, but they quickly ran away and hid. The memory of a koala was shown on television, but it was quickly replaced by another animal, the quack. They reached a canteen and noticed fish and frogs there, which they had released. The frogs said that they needed to board a bus with children that would go to the mountains. That's the only place they can get there. Little Paw began to tantrum again, so Nijo bit him with his tail. They got to the wrong bus, but thanks to Zoe's ability to find escape plans, the lizard quickly turned them to the bus where the girl with braces and a blue bow was. At that time, Jess Ganty and her son were not far behind them. The animals were happy to see a tree around, and then they began to think about the family and decided that they were already a family, and then they noticed the Jeep. Jess shot Lapusic, and then the bus stopped and the man got inside. The girl with the blue bow hid the animals in her backpack and then helped them get off the bus. Medi made friends with the man, and Jess threw Lapusic off a cliff. The lizard, spider, scorpion and snake fell down themselves and met the koalas. They tried to convince Lapusic to go into the thickets, but he began to cry and then laugh when Medi said that in freedom you can be anyone. Suddenly Jess fell down and purely by chance caught everyone, and when he tried to inject the snake with a tranquilizer, Lapusic overcame himself and told the password to US, when suddenly the Tasmanian devils Beelzebub, Lucifer and Dev appeared, saving them, and then Jess got out with the help of a rope. Mehdi thanked the koala for what he did. His son was a fan of his stories and always told his dad to do as he did on expeditions, but suddenly Gant got angry and involuntarily admitted that he had never actually hunted, and then said that when he was little, he was bullied, and then he saw some Australian guy on TV who caught animals and had a cool voice. Jess started copying him when this Aussie guy went into hiding and literally replaced him. Gant grew up and became famous throughout the world, and now he was going to prove to his son that he was a real hero and would correct his mistakes. At that time, the animals calmly explored the desert, reaching the thickets in various ways with the help of NAS agents. And Jess Gant was looking for allies, and he found them. Nijo, Zoe, and Frank, looking at the stars, asked Maddie to sing the song that her mother sang to her while she was in the egg. The snake sang this lullaby, and Lepuzic appreciated this song, saying that he did not remember anything about his mother, because she was hit by a car when he was born. Then Maddie noticed that Pussy no longer hated her. He just joked that if they had such an adventure and she saw him without a manicure, pedicure and with unkempt fur, then the next stage is to be friends. Having woken up, they moved on. Suddenly Lepuzic saw other koalas and stayed with them. Mehdi and others felt betrayed but admitted they would miss it. But even this was the norm, because this is Lepuzic's family, and everyone had the right to be with their family. Finally, they reached the mountains that Jackie had talked about. There they saw other animals similar to them, but suddenly they hid. The ground began to vibrate. It was Jess Gant's cars and motorcycles. His son also came out and confronted Maddie, but saw that she was just as scared as he was. However, his father grabbed all the animals and took them away from the rocks. Jesse, Gant's son, became determined and threw the glass off Maddie, releasing her to freedom, but Nijo, Zoe, and Frank remained there. The snake asked for help from its relatives, and then Lepuzic appeared and admitted that he felt comfortable only with Mehdi. The two of them gathered to save their friends, because there was no one else, because relatives from the rocks were peacefully basking in the sun. They stole a fire truck, the koala was driving, and Honey was changing gears, because Lepuzic was taught to steer. Using a stepladder, Maddie climbed onto the jeep while Koala fought with the drivers. Gant immediately began shooting, using different types of weapons. They realized that they are each other's family. Having saved Nijo, Zoe, and Frank, they stole a motorcycle and drove on, when suddenly other animals from the bush began to help them, even koalas, who were talking too much. The dung beetles dropped some stones to take revenge on Jesse for his brother Duncan. They were all riding on a stopped fire truck, and then there was only one ladder left, at the end of which Jesse was hanging. Mehdi bit Gant's leather bracelet, grabbed Lepuzic with her tail, and he, in turn, pulled out the boy. That's how they saved him. Suddenly the koala began to rejoice and say that they were able to do it, but there was no copper on his body, but only skin. Lepuzic suddenly thought that he had lost his friend because she had simply blown away, but in fact it was just her old skin. Gant then hugged all the animals and thanked Mehdi. The animals in the rocks literally threw a whole party about the return of everyone else. Then the frogs they saved appeared and said that the head of the NAS Association wanted to congratulate them personally, because it was she who ordered their protection. Suddenly a shadow jumped out, and it was Jackie the crocodile, whom Gant had taken out at the very beginning. It was Jackie who was the leader. She hugged them, glad that they were back, and also told her that, as the leader of an international association, it would not be very difficult for her to escape from the van. The animals fulfilled their dream and were finally home with their family. Nijo, Frank, Zoe, Lepuzic, and Mehdi returned back to the thicket, facing adventures. Write in the comments what you think about this cartoon. Subscribe to the channel to find even more cartoons for yourself and your family.